could have been your last marriage where you decide to share those things and your wife got at you every single time. She used it against you somehow. And so it just created you to not want to say anything anymore at all. And honestly, I think that's the worst thing that you can do to a man is to, or for a woman to do to a man, is to, he finally does share his feelings and emotions and you attack him for that. Like, that's the stupidest thing you could do as a woman. Your wife is not your enemy. Your past is your enemy. You're not just reacting to the things that your wife says or does, but you're also reacting to the old damages, the issues that have come up that you've never dealt with. And so today I want to talk about how childhood trauma shows up in your marriage. So we're going to dig deeper into all of this because we have to stop your past from showing up and controlling your future. So like, comment, subscribe, and we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is fear of rejection can turn into control or withdrawal, which is like abandonment, neglect, or being overlooked. It can cause you to make you feel clingy, controlling, or emotionally distant. Now, if you grew up in a family where your parents were not really around, like it felt like they abandoned you, they were just working all the time, never said they love you, never spent time with you, then eventually as you get into a marriage, you know, that wife that you have, she may have seen the things that you're really good at, which was like cooking. You were good at very handiwork. You were all hands-on, all these different things. But the one thing that you never really fully dealt with is learning how to deal with abandonment. So you emotionally neglect your wife in those areas because you don't know how to do it yourself. So this is an area that, because of that trauma, now it has carried into your marriage. So this is the theme of what we're talking about today. So in order for you to really figure out a way to fix this, you have to figure out, what is that fear that I have in my life that has caused me to have this carry into my marriage today? And once you figure out what that fear is, you have to learn how to sit in it. Meaning, how do you deal with that thing head on? How do you take that thing head on so that you stop going around the problem and you just go right into it? Because that's sitting in it. It's like most people to try to run away from the issues. You can't do that if you expect to ever get anything better out of your relationship with your wife and really get rid of those childhood traumas out of there. So learning how to sit in it, learning how to be a little bit uncomfortable is going to help you. Being uncomfortable is what helps you to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So learn how to be uncomfortable so you can start being more comfortable being uncomfortable. Another areas we're going to talk about is lack of affirmation can make you overly defensive. So if you, let's just say, you know, your wife is not really big into saying I love you, or you know, telling you that you're a good man because you've been busting your tail trying to make sure you're providing for the family and all those different things. I ain't gonna lie, I love my wife tells me I'm a good man, especially when I know I'm busting my butt, working hard, trying to make things happen for our family in some type of way. And if she don't say nothing, oh no. See, that does something to me a little bit. But the problem is, for some people, is they don't know how to work themselves out of that. They will hold on to that, they will linger on it, and they'll hold it inside as long as they can and go do something destructive because their wife never gave them the thing that they were looking for, the words of affirmation. I don't know what man out there does not love words of affirmation from their spouse. You know, baby, I love you. You're a great man. Thank you for taking care of us. I mean, honestly, it's simple things that can happen and men love that. But when you don't get it, what do? Well, this is the area that you have to learn how to encourage yourself. If you've never learned how to encourage yourself in a situation where you're not getting those types of things that you want, you're going to be looking for them all the time and you're going to end up very disappointed. So learning how to encourage yourself, finding some quotes, some scriptures in the Bible, things that will help you to stand on so that when you're not getting the thing that you're looking for, you'll be able to encourage yourself to keep yourself uplifted as a man, right? And if your brothers ain't there to uplift you, like, dog, you're doing well, keep your head up, man, you're pushing hard, keep, you're doing this, you're doing that, you also took care of this, you all took it, oh, you're right, thank you, and keeps you going, then you have to figure out a way to do it because there are too many things that you have in your life, purpose driven, that you need to take care of. And you can't allow the words of affirmation that have not happened in your life to stop you from moving forward in the things that you have to do. All right. So another area we're going to talk about is chaos, how it makes you addicted to peace, even if it's fake. Now, I use this domestic violence thing as not something that's fun to talk about, but chaos. People who have come from homes of domestic violence, I can't say everything that's happened, that all of the domestic violence looks the exact same way, but there's arguments, There's hands that are being thrown some type of way, man to woman, woman to man. And through those things, a child unfortunately has to see those things. And that can cause chaos in a home. So guess what that does for that man in the future? If he's arguing with his wife about something, then the first thing that he ends up thinking about, well, one of the first few things he thinks about is what happened in the home when he was younger. And subliminally or subconsciously, he does certain things to protect himself, to keep peace in his home with his wife, because he doesn't want, not that there's going to be some type of domestic violence case, but he just wants to keep the peace so it never comes to anything like that. And that is unfortunately unhealthy. It's not the right way to think about it, because peace is not by staying quiet. Sometimes there is a way to create healthy conflict, right? If you have a problem with your wife and there are things that are not going the way that you want, it is okay to have those conversations with her, as long as you learn how to do it in love. You don't have to be aggressive in your speech, and you don't want to be passive in your speech. You have to be assertive. You have to tell it in love. Stick to the facts. Don't go off trickling onto all these other things. Don't make it about her necessarily, but make it about yourself. Things that you see for yourself that are causing you issues, and address it that way. Because if you don't do it, you're going to have a hard time feeling uncomfortable. But you have to practice being honest about your problems. You have to practice being uncomfortable so that it just becomes natural. It becomes second nature to you. It's not, it looks very foreign when you do it the first time, but eventually the more that you do it, you're not going to have as many problems as you did back then, right? Now you're starting to release some of those childhood traumas, because now you're learning how to go through the problem and not around it. The other area that we're going to go over here is childhood roles become adult masks. So what type of person did you have to be growing up? Were you the fixer? Were you the one who was always staying quiet to make sure things were going good? Did you have to be a tough one, and now you can't show weakness, because if you do, then you're not a man, or whatever the case it is. Well, that's unfortunate, because now, because of that narrative, because of whatever it was that you had to deal with growing up, now that's carried on into your as a teenager, into your adulthood, and now as a father. Like, those are areas that you've never changed, and to you, you're like, man, this is fine. Why, if it's not broke, why fix it? But what are the areas in your life that are still not resolved because you've never allowed yourself to open up those doors yet? So you just keep them buried, knowing that you could become stronger and wiser and greater than what you are today if you were willing to just address those issues. Well, honestly, it's a complete mask. It's like, so I'm going to work my butt off every single day from 12 hours a day, 9 to whatever the case is, Monday through Monday, because if I do this, then I bring home money, I ain't got to worry about nothing, everything is resolved. No, that's not true. Because if the second you have a day off, what do you do with yourself? Nothing. You don't even know what to do. And so it's like, sometimes it's easier to go to work than to address the issues that are at hand, right? Because you go to work, you ain't got to worry about someone saying something to you. You come home, your wife's going to want to talk about those things. And unfortunately, those masks have to come off. You can't look like Jim Carrey all the day wearing that green mask. You're going to have to take it off eventually and become who you really are. Like, what's under that mask? What is really going on inside of you or under you that you're not really addressing? And so again, who did you have to be as a kid? Who did you have to become to cover whatever it was that you needed to think that you had to cover to protect yourself? Well, these are the areas where it's like, it's all right to let those things go. You have to be able to let those things go. If it's not with your wife, then find someone that you can do that with. And then also, unhealed trauma causes emotional numbness, and any type of neglect or getting in trouble from sharing your feelings can cause you to miss out on emotional connections. And so again, I've seen this happen often where men, you share your feelings to your dad or to your mom, and depending on what type of way they grew up, you share those things that call you a sissy, or you're weak, or punk, man up, do all these different things. You're like 7 years old. You don't know nothing about no manning up yet. But because of those things, it causes you to become numb, and so you just don't share anything anymore with anybody. And it's not even just your mom and dad. It could have been your last marriage, where you decide to share those things and your wife got at you every single time. She used it against you somehow, and so it just created you to not want to say anything anymore at all. And honestly, I think that's the worst thing that you can do to a man, or for a woman to do to a man, he finally does share his feelings and emotions, and you attack him for that. Like, that's the stupidest thing you could do as a woman. If you're listening to this, women, don't do that to your husbands, because he has a right and a need to say certain things at times, and it should be okay. So men, if you've ever dealt with that and you don't know how to deal with it the right way, journal. Write that stuff down. Write down what it is that you're dealing with. And if it's really serious, get some counseling, because it's going to help you change your life. And the last thing that you want to do is not say anything or do anything because you were too afraid to do it. But again, that's the trauma that it creates. It creates fear in you from being able to speak up, speak out, say the things that you need to say, get the things done that you need to do, because those prior things you've seen too much in your life that says, if I do something like this, then this future result is going to happen because of what happened in my past. And it's just not 100% true. So only way you're going to get through being better to get over those areas of your life is to get some coaching, some therapy, go through my coaching program, and all those things will be able to help you to get your areas of this part of your life fixed so that you don't have to worry about them in the future. So on that note, we're going to read two scriptures real quick. One of them is going to be 1 Corinthians 13 and 11. And because, of course, the scripture is what is very helpful to me. So 13 and 11, it says, when I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. So again, don't allow yourself to think like a child and stay in this place that you're protecting yourself when all you're doing is hurting yourself by not sharing what's on your heart, because it's just, you're so much better than that. You're so much stronger than that. And by trying to think that this is what's helpful, it might be helpful to an extent, but there are some areas of your life that aren't really being fixed because you're not willing to share those things. And the last one I want to share is Romans 12 and 2, one of my favorite scriptures, but it says, don't copy the behaviors and the customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. And so everything that you've dealt with in your life, God has his hand on your life, and he wants to work in your life with you. But you have to allow those doors to be open, be a little bit more vulnerable, and share, get those things off your chest so that he can start to change you from the inside out. So on that note, if you guys like this, again, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I would love to interact with you guys. It's important to have that dialogue as a community, and let me know your thoughts. So in the meantime, talk soon. Take care. Peace.